I'm Mike, former Hells Angel in Fresno, and I'm chatting with Staxx.
Welcome to this episode of Chattin with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Mike Lynch.
Because, man, go down there, and, man, guys will go, hey, I'm avoiding that motherfucker next time. You know, because the cops didn't like us, so you're fighting with them. You got other clubs. You've got just citizens that didn't give, they didn't give a shit about no Hells Angel. Everybody's fighting, I mean, and that's just part of the Wild West,
It's a Scream City. Were they one percenters?
Yeah.
They wore a 1% diamond?
I didn't wear the diamond then because we knew once we made a deal, we already knew where we were going. The other guys, outside of our area, we had the usual problems with the other teams, and, I got pressure. I've got talked to or confronted several times about this, that, or the other. And like I was told, he goes, look, Mike, no matter what, don't be the guy that kicks it off. In other words, at your point where you're at, you don't want to upset anything until you're done.
Did the other teams know your intentions?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm honest. Hey, this is what we're going to do. So I'm just telling you now. So whoever, if you want to talk, okay. If you don't, then fine. But like I said, our closest team to us was a couple counties away. So basically, we didn't play in their backyard, and you don't come and play in ours. That was the agreement that we basically had. Just leave us alone. We'll leave you alone.
So did any of your guys get into any altercations before you guys passed over?
Minor incidents, and then the powers that be, because I wasn't a spokesperson at that particular time, so I had to let the upper echelon know, hey, blah blah blah, we had this went on, this transpired, this is what was said, and they said, okay, whoever happened to be in contact with these guys at the time, they would call and say, hey, we got guys down there, leave them alone, and they're there to stay. So you've been officially notified. And it went as well as you could possibly expect. They know we're going through town because the 99, to get anywhere, we had to go right past them when we were coming and going. So, no shenanigans on the freeway. There was a couple little skirmishes, but nothing major.
So you guys had to pass through their town. Did they drive through your town too?
Well, vice versa too. You know what I mean? We had, because we're in Fresno. You're dead center of California. Well, we have to go to the coast. You have to go Southern California, Northern California. You have to go to Nevada. All the other places, Arizona. These are places that are now going to be you're going to be a part of. So you got to get out there, and you're damn sure not going to get in the car and go, you know what I mean? Yeah. Now, if there's a storm, okay, but for the most part, it's ride. And people, the powers that be, watch all that. They want to see how many guys are, at the different events. You'll see the guys over and over and over, and they go, there's the heart of the crew. They're here, they're there, they're everywhere. And that's basically what you do during those hang around prospect times. You gotta go out and meet people, and they gotta get to know you before they embrace you, and that's it. Because I got more shit from our own people than anybody else. Our own people are pretty tough.
So are you guys wearing your patches the whole time?
We wore them until what did we do? When we prospected, then we dropped everything. But we wore our patch until we dropped it and became Hell's Angel Prospect Charter.
So everyone wears a prospect patch.
Well, once we dropped it, then we became not individuals, but a charter. We're a prospect charter in the state of California. And in them days, I think there was, Nevada just, they just got Nevada all settled in, and they were the club before us. They went into Reno and they got it going on, and they finished. So we were the next group of guys that were new to take over and come into a new area and start a new charter.
And by this time, did they already do? They did the Dirty Dozen and all that patched over.
All that. Okay, when I came in, the Dirty Dozen was doing what I was doing. They were coming from Arizona. Nevada was coming from Nevada. Everybody, we're all okay. When we go to an event, you got 3 prospect charters helping out at these events. So it's like, man, it's massive, and everything was going well. And then you're meeting people from outside, because the Dirty Dozen was way different than us in California. They were old school biker, you know what I mean? They were still riding rigid frames and coming. I said, holy shit.
Yeah, it's ape hangers, right?
Oh, but they would ride from Arizona in that rigid frame all the way to Central California. And and I go, God, got to give it to these guys. They were doing it, and it was good. I'm glad I did it the way we did it, because I knew more people. I learned more stuff. I didn't have to, it was okay to make a mistake as long as it's not too big, because you can rectify it when you're here. But as a member, you're expected to get all those mistakes out of your system. So
did you make any mistakes that were like, damn, I might be out?
Well, once or twice I got a little nervous. And that's because another prospect charter had kind of bullshitted the West Coast about where they were and what they were doing. They were saying this, but one of the senior members peeled off and went down to see for himself, and what he was told and what he found when he got there was 2 different things.
So he goes down there and he finds out that they're not there.
And the closest one was like maybe an hour and a half away. In other words, the area that they claimed that they were living and where they were conducting business as a club and this and that wasn't exactly the truth. When we did our monthly meeting, when it was their turn to let everybody know what's up, well,
anyway, what happened, man? You got to tell me.
Well, let's put it this way: their president come out of the door and he was leaking. Okay, and then the Sarge grabbed him by the collar and says, "Get your ass back in here." And they finished whatever business that they had to talk about. But after it was said and done, one guy got to stay, the rest were gone. And that one guy ended up going to Reno for a while, But anyway, yeah, in them days, there was a lot of discipline, and you couldn't bullshit your way through nothing. Because these old coots, they pay attention to what you say. They pay attention to everything, your body movements when you go somewhere, how you interact, who you talk to, everything is being scrutinized, because, there wouldn't be no bigger feather in a cap for law enforcement is to sneak somebody in there, you know. And it happened once or twice during my time. I seen it happen maybe 4 times the whole time I was in. So, you know,
Yeah, but they didn't get full patches, right?
There was guys that were full patch members that ended up being heads.
Oh, I'm sure, but they weren't police officers.
No, no. Well, the only one that was an actual police officer and not a cooperating witness was that Jay Dobbins.
But they say that he didn't get a full patch.
He did not. They kind of mocked it up to look that way. They mocked up a crime scene with one of the other team members, and you know, they created a situation that never happened. And you know, that was a wake-up call for the whole, you know, that's it. You know, no more Mr. Nice Guy shit. You know, in other words, this is the way we are. We can't, you know, you just can't. If you see something, you're going to have to pay a little bit closer to attention to it. Don't just let it go. If something bothers you, then follow up on it. You know, don't just, you know, but because that doesn't work.
Have you ever been in the room when they confronted someone for working with law enforcement?
No. It was all dealt with before, you know, because like we're trying to conduct meetings and business and pay our bills and, you know, and upcoming events and upcoming people coming in. So that would kind of sidetrack it. So if there is an issue of that nature, that would be handled you know, the persons and people, whoever involved, they'll keep it small, and as which you should, I believe. You know, you guys got the paperwork, you guys got this and that. I trust that you're going to handle it appropriately, and then it's none of my business after that. You know, my business is to watch my area and my things and the people that I let around the club.
So when you're a prospect or a prospect charter, you're sitting outside while everyone's having church and you're standing guard and doing things like that, right?
Yes.
Walk me through when you finally get your patch or your charter. Do they all get it at the same time?
Yeah, we were at a meeting up there, and there was some discussion, and you know, they, believe it or not, Hell's Angels have a sense of humor. There's a few guys in there that love to make a motherfucker squirm. You know what I mean? They love it. Watch this. And it started that way. And I started going, are they with us? Because I don't know how to react. I don't know them that well.
You feel like you're getting kicked out, right?
Well, I feel something's funny. And then because I got one of them mouths that can't keep shut. I said, hey, looky here. You know, blah, blah, blah. And then the with me stopped and they said, turn around. And on the bar was all of our brand new stuff sitting on the bar, laid out, ready to go. So they with us for about 10 minutes and got us a little twisted. And then after that, then it was welcome to the family. And here we go, you know. And for me, or for us, you know, 5 years and 11 months was a long time. And that day was the relief of, for me as a leader, it was like, oh God, you know, in other words, it was worth all the shit we went through, all the headaches, stress. I wish I would have handled my personal life better, but you know, okay, well, I learned later on, but anyway, you know, yeah, it was the day to remember. You know?
What year was that?
2000, a millennial baby.
So 2000, you get your pass.
11/11/2000.
What's it like to now finally you can sit in these meetings that you used to stand guard and never get to sit down in these meetings? Does it feel good when you're walking in, like, now I get to sit down with these guys?
Well, it just, because I never had really any much as a prospect interaction. They were there for business. It was money, it was things that had to be discussed or whatever's going on. So now that I'm in there and I'm looking around and, basically I'm listening. And then, like I said, each charter has to, if they got charter business, like a corporation meeting, then when we come up, hey, this is what's going on. Hey, we have an event. Hey, we have a legal case. Hey, we have this, or, who out there needs some help, and we'll come down there and help you at your event if you're shorthanded. Whatever it took to get in there and be us as a whole is what we did. And for the first year, because they don't let nobody in. I had to go in because I was a president of my charter, but the rest of the guys, I think, had to wait a year before they actually came in. You know what I mean? Because there was no reason to have that many people in there. There was only one guy that has the information, and that's all we want in here.
That was you.
And that was me.